Hello, Sebastian. Sebastian, you are the CEO of SleevesUp, co-working space with multi-location in Germany. So we have met at the Coworking Europe conference. I think you were in Warsaw. I don't know whether you attended some others, but
Yeah, I wasn't there, but my COO was there. Yeah.
okay, Charlotte, that's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
great.
Exactly.
So maybe let's have a first introduction to SleevesUp and what is up to with the co-working offering, what you are doing right now, so we know a little bit more about SleevesUp.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 11 locations up and running at the moment, mostly in and around Frankfurt in Germany, but we also have a couple of sort of satellite locations a little further away. One in Hanover, one in Aachen, one in Gießen, and still planning to expand further. At the moment, of course, everything is a little bit on hold due to the current situation, but we're getting along, and our basically what we're doing is we're trying to provide a quite standardized product, a professional office solution for small business people, freelancers, entrepreneurs, startups, but also like more established small firms. Basically, very colorful, broad customer base. Yeah.
So Frankfurt, you're in Frankfurt right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it your own company, or are you supported by some other players? And how did it start?
It's sort of a family business. So my father and I started the company, and so far we have it's still in full ownership of my father and myself.
And so the positioning, would you say it's more kind of more traditional co-working with more professional look and feel, or do you have some tone, or you try to give a taste that is specific to you, or do you market yourself when you are speaking about SleevesUp?
Yeah, we're as the name suggests, we're focused on on people that have an entrepreneurial mindset. Yeah, so we do have some, of course, also classic corporate customers, but I would say like 95% of our customers are really like hands-on people that like to roll their sleeves up, find solutions, but and not only the classic startup entrepreneurs, but also quite people that are self-employed, for example, that are running a small agency, for instance, and don't necessarily try to have a classic startup or scale-up company, but do their own thing and do their are established in their field. Basically, all our customers unites this entrepreneurial spirit, and I wouldn't say that we are focused on, I don't know, tech companies or any or web companies or any kind of special niche. The common ground is that people in our spaces, and that's how we build them, really need a professional and a space where they can focus, where they can work. I'm sorry, let me just turn that off here.
Multitasking.
Yeah. It seems like my Outlook is still open. Yeah, here we go. And so what we basically did is we're trying to offer, since our customer base is quite price sensitive, really an affordable product without cutting down on the professionality of it. So we do have modern designed and very professional workstations, many private offices, mostly for 2 to 4 people. So basically an ideal setup to run a small team. And what we basically did is we cut off all the sort of unnecessary parts, at least for our customer base. So we don't have, for example, too big of lounge areas or cafe areas or anything like that, because our customers, obviously, they appreciate the focus they have. They appreciate a professional office setup, and everything around they sort of are not really too willing to pay for also. Yeah, so our product is really really stripped down to the core, and that way quite affordable at a very high standard. Yeah.
And so you're more located in downtown Frankfurt, or more in the suburbs, or is your
both. So we since we can run our business quite lean, and we have locations in downtown Frankfurt, but also in the suburb surrounding it. Yeah, we don't need to have huge floors or huge spaces to run profitably, and so we have very lean processes. We are very standardized, so the overhead part to run a space is quite low with us. That's why we are able to also go to the suburbs and smaller towns with our concept. So it's not only the central or downtown areas of the big A cities in Germany. We're actually trying to bring our product more into the broad fields, also smaller B cities, or even the suburbs, or or even rural areas.
And so, what's the average size of one location you have?
They are all around about 1,000 square meters. Some are a little bigger, but not much.
Okay. Is it on purpose that you remain that kind of average size, or is it?
Yeah, it's actually very on purpose, because in that size of areas, you don't have to do a lot of active community management in actively bringing people together. We do that every once in a while, but also another point is here that our customers find it sometimes a little bit too distracting if you push too many community events all of the time. And in that size of a location, the community basically finds itself. And if you have a 1,000 square meter location, after a few weeks, you know all your neighbors basically. And if you have a big location, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 square meters, maybe on several floors, then you easily get the feeling of being like a small anonymous piece in the puzzle, and you don't even know your neighbors anymore. And then it's
so proximity creates the community feeling, and the networking by itself, and people just can engage with one another the way they want, and self initiate maybe events or gatherings or things like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of that coming out of the community itself.
Yeah. So how are things going for you now that we have been locked down in Europe for 4 or 5 weeks now? Depends of the country. Some started sooner, but so are you dealing with it right now? Is the closed or
we're not closed. Our locations are still open, and because people still need a place to work, right? Many don't have print. Sorry?
To print out stuff.
Many don't have the opportunity to work from home. They get too distracted. They don't have the infrastructure. So many still appreciate the opportunity to come to the office. Of course, the meeting room bookings have pretty much stopped for a while now, but that picks up again now slowly. So people are getting comfortable with the situation a little bit, and are going out again, of course, with caution. And we also informed, or how you want to put it, we informed our members basically what safety measures to take, and to keep distance, wash their hands, like the usual stuff, right? And of course, we especially in the beginning of the period of the Corona time, we heavily increased our cleaning routines to really make sure that nothing can happen. But since it's actually a little bit slow or a little bit more quiet in our spaces now, not everybody comes in, but some people still come in. Some prefer to stay at home. I feel that the general safety measures for every person, they usually that's usually enough, right? I mean, of course you could disinfect every door handle every 10
Yeah.
minutes, but
Take the
I
suits
don't know.
and the helmet and
Yeah,
come with the all the suits that is you know, airproof to some extent, and
yeah,
I hope we
yeah.
won't go that far in our courses.
Yeah, no, I mean the safest way is if everybody. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think the best safety measure is if every customer or every office member adhering to the general safety measures like keeping distance and washing their hands regularly, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then things can keep working. Yeah. Then you can still keep up a business. Of course, other industries like restaurants they are officially locked down and they have much more trouble than us.
Yeah.
For us in the industry, I think it's still okay. What we do feel is, of course, that requests or new business requests have gone down a little bit for a couple of weeks now. But right now, end of April, we slowly feel business or new business picking up again too.
And what are the kind of requests you are getting? Is it regular stuff that you used to have, or is it more specific? Maybe indeed, as you said, individuals who homework and are getting crazy just staying at
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
home, or is it more like traditional SMEs looking for
Yeah,
a
we
private
like
office?
the traditional business is picking up again, like before Corona times, absolutely. But interestingly, in addition to this, to the traditional business, we are getting cases that are actually Corona related. Yeah, where people saying, okay, I have to leave the home office every once in a while. I need some kind of flex office opportunity. We have had a company that had to arrange something for their sales team, like overnight. Basically, they had to clear their own office, and then they basically moved. They had a team of 5 moving in one of our locations overnight because they had to keep working. They had to keep doing their phone calls. We're currently in talks with actually a big company, a bank that needs sort of a backup location very urgently for their teams in case they have to close down one of their main locations.
Okay.
So there are coming up cases where actually people, because of Corona, are approaching us and our office solutions.
Because what they have their regular office, they don't want to continue the contract, or and move towards more flexible model, or is it just because indeed there are specific features or realities in the building and the facility that make it more uncertain indeed to keep going with their business?
Yeah,
Is
at the very moment, basically the short-term demand really goes into the direction. Hey, we had to close our office in certain areas, and we need some capacity very fast to put in a team, and then let's do it only for. Is it possible to have this only for a month or 2 months, basically? So short-term solution, basically, but. In the mid to long term, from the talks we're currently having, people are beginning to think of what can be the future solution for their offices, basically, since the economic times are getting more uncertain. People don't know for how long Corona will still be around, and you still have this threat to your health too. Yeah, so people are really starting to think: is the 5 to 10 year lease still the ideal thing to do? Do we want more flexibility? Is it even necessary to have an office at all? Or because for many firms, home office starts to work fine, and people are thinking, okay, maybe we don't even need an own office anymore and can only use some office as a service or flex office models. These are, I would say, careful thoughts that we do observe in the industry, I wouldn't say that there's going to be a huge disruption, but I have the feeling that our flex office model will become a very interesting addition to a more flexible office setup, being the regular corporate office, home office being a much more used or a much more established alternative, and then flex office models to do meetings or to bring in employees for a day or for two, just to have a proper workspace, will be an interesting addition for many companies.
So you see that, or would you say that you start to get this feedback, because in the industry that's the bet of every players? Now we indeed have this impression that all of a sudden the 90% of the market, of 80% of the market, according to the countries, which was not convinced by remote working, due to the fact that they were forced to do it and just acknowledge it works. The people remain pretty productive and they still have their meeting and coordinate and be and sometimes more productive than they were at the head office. We have this hope or impression or guess that indeed they will all of a sudden figure out that flexible and co-working is the model. But so far it's more like an intuition. But would you say that you start to feel it, like it's more than an intuition, and that the feedbacks you are getting now tend to show that indeed this assumptions could be the reality at the end?
Well, I would say it's for the big 90% share of the market. Within that, I hear voices that say, nah, this is only a temporary thing, and we will go back to the corporate office because we don't even believe in home office, right? This is some feedback that I'm getting. But about I would say half of the other half is actually thinking, or now starting to think more about flexibility and risk management and these kind of topics.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't say they are like now super enthusiastic and saying, okay, now we go to co-working. Now that's the big thing. The direct connection is not there yet, I believe. But that's where we're currently starting our discussions with firms, with firms in the market that have so far always had their own long-term lease corporate office, saying, hey, I don't necessarily want to sell my product as of for tomorrow right now to you, but I'm starting to raise questions, saying, hey, how are you going to handle this uncertainty? Do you actually know how many employees you will need a workspace for in half a year or in 2 years? And people, that's really what gets people thinking. And we get a lot of feedback saying, hey, as of now, Corona times, we can't make a decision right now. But the solution that you're describing is very interesting. And once things got back to normal a little bit, and we have accommodated to the situation of people having to work from home, from having to keep a distance for a while, let's think more about flexibility and risk management also in terms of our office lease contracts.
So it's interesting. So what you see is more that a trigger that would be more related to risk management, as you say, that conviction that indeed it's in terms of management and in terms of cost management and distribution, it's the model that fits more with the requirements of the new generation of worker. For you, it is the drivers remains more the matter of risk management and deal with the uncertainty that is ahead of us for the coming couple of years, something like that.
That's at least what I'm the feedback that I'm getting back. Of course, many decision makers in companies, they appreciate the fact that the office is being managed in co-working and that you have everything included and so on. But so far they had that at their own office, right? They had the office managers, they had the infrastructure there too. So there, for many firms, there wasn't really the service that we are providing as co-working or flex office providers, they had that in their own corporate offices too. But what they didn't have is and still don't have is the flexibility to be able to on a monthly basis adjust the number of actually needed desks and the ability to restructure teams very fast. And this is suddenly something that comes to their mind and saying, okay, now obviously there are two threats, which is the economic risk and the health risk, which will be around for quite a while. How can we react? And now they're starting to realize that their regular long-term lease isn't the ideal setup to deal with these uncertainties anymore.
Okay, interesting. And what about satellite officing? Because that's another element that when we read about how the workers in general are reacting and experiencing the current time, they say, yeah, I don't want to be in an overcrowded train or even plane in the future. And but on the other hand, home working is not the solution due to all the reasons we know. Still, we don't see that, or at least massively, the solutions that companies have those multi-location capabilities that are actually rented from co-working spaces to allow their employees to work half remotely, let's say close by to their home, but not having to go to the head office every day, and especially now that indeed we are a bit worried that we would be impact public transportation. So is it something that and it's especially interesting in Germany because as the country is more distributed overall, we could expect that something that is more here from the employers, isn't it?
At least from the employees, and we have some of them in our customer base. We do get exactly this. This is being confirmed, right? They appreciate that they don't have a long commute, but still have a professional setup and get out of the home office every once in a while. From the employers, this was so far wasn't really the big topic or a big solution, like in actively offering that to their staff. But since now they were forced to send everybody to home office, they I think they start thinking about it. I'm having some conversations with I would say more innovative employers who are really now asking themselves, hey, do we need our own corporate office anymore? Or can we find like a hybrid solution between home office and other models?
Office in the cloud, or
Yes, absolutely. And frankly, you can't generalize that, but there are many industries like having salespeople or consultants, etc., who are traveling a lot, already, and who were so far forced to either go to some own satellite office of their company, or work in a hotel or in a train station lobby or anything. And so this is there you can already see that this satellite and this flex office model is already in some industries. And I think the big advantage for people that don't live directly nearby the corporate headquarter in the big cities, but have a long commute, this will be more apparent in the future, and employees will demand that and say, hey, I can work from home office, or I can work from remote. I prove that. Dear employer, can I have some kind of solution here so I don't have to commute into the big cities anymore? And some employers are actually picking that up already and asking themselves these questions. But I wouldn't say that we are far enough yet where they are actively already saying, okay, this is now the big solution to work with co-working providers. I think there are still some steps to do, and there's still some education to do because for many of them this whole co-working field is still a pretty new thing, and they really have to get accustomed to that first.
What would you say is the missing link so far, especially in Germany? Because so from where we are at Coworking Europe, there was a lot of talks, and we discussed a lot about co-working in Germany. It's true that for instance, you go in France or in the UK, you have, of course, because of the way the country is organized, you have, I think, 60% of the offering of co-working in France is in Paris. Same thing in London. In Germany, of course, because you have more different. It's more a network of cities that it's more spread out. But it's true that SleevesUp is one of the few real known brands in Germany with a network of spaces that we know. And so according to you, what is happening in Germany that could trigger the markets or make it more visible overall, maybe to everybody in the country, that the co-working is there, that it's a solution that is creditworthy, scalable, whatever?
I think in Germany, at least many companies still have the impression, established companies still have the impression that that co-working is still a pretty new thing and something for startups or freelancers, or I don't know, that a lot of crazy colorful people are sitting in a big room and having fun all day. This is the impression that many established firms still have.
Right? That's how co-working marketed itself in the beginning.
Yeah, and on the other hand, you have like the classic established office center providers like Regus or other brands, and they still, if you talk to established firms, first of all they always say, oh, it's expensive, and it's more something for like consultants or I don't know, project teams or anything like that. And what's missing so far is, I think, that this understanding for this new co-working product where you really have a professional workspace atmosphere. And as long as big brands like that do that, right, like Spaces also, for example, or WeWork or design offices, etc. As long as the big providers stay in the big metropolis where it's Berlin, Hamburg, Munich, where you have either big international corporates who know the brand from other places in the world, or you have a vibrant startup scene that appreciates this product, you won't get this sort of education on our product, on our industry in the broader field, in the smaller cities where a lot of SMEs are actually located, and for whom this flexible product is actually relevant right now. So what we're trying to do is, with SleevesUp at least, is exactly this process, like bringing professional, standardized, scalable workspace solutions out in the field to the broader area. And what we absolutely experience is in Frankfurt, you don't have to do any education. People are actively asking, okay, do you have room? When can we move in, right? In other locations, the more rural you get, some people have never heard of co-working. And when you start explaining, they say like, oh, this is a pretty cool idea. Since when is this around? Yeah. So, and there you don't have that offer yet. And so people are not really familiar with the product and the advantages. So what would really help if more providers would actually bring a professional, standardized product to the broad landscape in Germany, to areas where actually a lot of SME companies are located. And the fact is, SMEs in Germany is like a typical thing, that we have this huge SME German economy backbone, etc. but they don't go. Most of them are not located in the big top 6 cities that we have, but they're, I don't know, somewhere in rural areas. That's where we have to bring our product. And often on the other side, many projects that do exist in the rural area are often, I don't know, some kind of public projects or some kind of publicly funded initiatives and all these kind of things. And these are always very unique and are always more like a platform where you bring people together and you have this community management, etc., in the focus, and this is fine. But if you really want to have a flexible and professional space to work and focus and be productive, this is often not available yet in many areas.
How do you market or communicate as SleevesUp in Aachen as opposed to Frankfurt? Do you change the way you communicate, or Aachen is far it's good enough?
Frankfurt, all we have to do is be there and be visible, and then because people search in Frankfurt. In other locations like Aachen, for example, but also, I don't know, Gießen maybe, or Darmstadt, where we just opened an office. You have to sell a lot more actively. You have to approach the Chamber of Commerce. You have to approach the cities. You have to approach the universities and introduce yourself and your product. And then often, or usually, always the reaction is, okay, this is great. We will forward this to all our to our whole network and so on. And of course, it takes a little bit more time to build up the traction. But there you have, of course, then the advantage that nobody else is around. And once you have done this education, you are still the first mover. So the approach is, of course, a little bit different. You have to actively sell in the more rural areas, and in the big cities, I don't know, have to get found and have the best have to offer the best price for.
Yes, it's more competitive, so it's more like the regular way to market and present yourself. Okay, super interesting. Super insightful. Is there something you want to add, or a comment or a reflection, or what we need in the industry that should be more told about? I don't know.
I mean, from my opinion, the especially if you look outside of the big cities, at least in Germany, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing in other European countries. Just as you said, most of the offer is centralized to the capital. I believe that this flexible office model will be will grow strongly in the future, especially in times of higher uncertainty. But in the outside of the big cities, people, the vast majority still doesn't know what it is and still doesn't know about the advantages. So, and of course, competition helps the business, right? Because if there are more providers of co-working, then there's more visibility, and the more people know about the product. But then, as you said, the competition is stronger, of course. What would help in general also to maybe build up a demand and a pull effect from also rural areas and from outside the big metropolis is basically to educate people, to inform the public, basically. However it can be done. I mean, every provider who is in these markets will do this on their own. But I think what would be very helpful for the whole industry is if more people outside of the big metropolis knew what co-working actually is, because many people don't really, and there's no clear picture of what co-working is.
You
always have to explain, okay, there's these kind of spaces, other kinds, and so people really have to get an idea what we're actually talking about.
It's we feel always this for outsiders that for them co-working is for startup and freelancers, and that's it. Whereas we
Yes,
try to
exactly. And
explain that actually no, it's changing the model of the office and just converting the
absolutely.
traditional workspace model into a asset-light model and service-based model and hospitality-based model, like
Right.
we have with other in any industry which is disrupted right now due to technology. And
Yeah, right. And this type of education, basically, this if there would be a more broad or broader education on exactly what you just mentioned, explaining what the product is, explaining the advantages, and sort of erasing these wrong pictures that people
yeah,
have in their heads from the media. I mean, talking to the media and telling them, hey, co-working is a lot more than just a bunch of crazy upstarts in one big room and basically coding all night.
yeah,
Then this,
no
for the whole
life.
industry, this is probably that would probably be the one a very big help to help establish the product of co-working faster in a broader public. Yeah.
Brilliant. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. And
Well, thanks for
for
reaching out. Yeah.
no, it's our pleasure. No, we have been, so SleevesUp is yes, it's in the list of players we know in Germany, but maybe it was good maybe also to tell more about you and it's specific, as you said, that you have this multi-location and this understanding of everything is not Berlin is not everything for the co-working industry, or Munich such as London shouldn't be everything in the UK or Paris
Right.
in France, and it's very important. For instance, we heard last week. So I'm in Belgium, but the French minister of I think work, she was claiming that indeed the future had to go through the network of co-working spaces in the countryside
Mhm.
because of everything we mentioned. They endorsed the idea. The issue is how do they handle that after that? Because yes, there is always this mismatch between the demand and the offering, and how do you deal with that? But indeed, it seems that more and more it's popping up and being something that becomes an obvious need in decision makers' minds. So yeah, hopefully we will see that happening as well, and in terms of letting the awareness grow in all our countries post crisis. But in the meantime, yes, we will likely have to wear the mask. And so we were joking about co-working Europe, where we wonder whether the picture wouldn't look like it's a congress for surgeons and not a
Yeah.
congress for co-working. But who knows? Everything will be look like a congress for
That's right.
surgeons in the coming months, maybe. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Sebastian.
Yeah. Thank you.
We wish you the best.
You too.
Feel free to add things on their channels or say hi. And yeah, we hope to hear more about your next step and the resume of everything once the world will be safer.
Absolutely. Yeah. You take care. Thanks a lot for having me. And then, yeah, see you soon, I guess.
See you soon, for sure.
Take care.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a
Bye
lot.
bye.